The E-commerce Act provides the legal framework that governs electronic transaction, digital communication, and online commercial activities. It recognizes that business transaction no longer rely solely on paper documents and face-to-face interaction. So for professional, this law legitimates electronic contracts, email, and online agreement as legally enforceable. The Act support efficiency and speed in business operation while maintaining legal certainty. It also addresses the growing reliance on digital platforms for trade, services, and payments. So business leader must understand that digital convenience does not remove legal accountability. Compliance with E-commerce Act is essential for risk management in online operation, and this law bridges traditional legal principles with modern business realities. And to give us more details about the topic, let us all welcome our presenter. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Doc. Am I visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for today's presentation, I'm about to present about the E-commerce Act. It's about the international expansion strategies for online businesses. So specifically here in the Philippines. So again, my name is Jessamay Dave P. Oping. Okay. Okay, so for the objectives of this study, we're about to understand the key provisions and purpose of the E-commerce Act of the Philippines, RA 8792. The second one is to explain the legal validity of electronic documents and signatures. The third one is to apply the e-commerce regulations to practical business scenarios involving online transactions, contracts, and digital communications. For the overview of this topic about the E-commerce Act R8 8792, the Electronic Commerce Act of 2000 is the Philippines' primary law governing electronic transactions. It was enacted to recognize the legal validity of electronic documents, electronic signatures, and online contracts, putting them to an equal footing with traditional paper-based transactions. This law was introduced to promote the growth of e-commerce and to facilitate business and government transactions in the digital age, specifically in today's generation. So, in simple terms, R8 8792 makes online transactions legal and trustworthy in the Philippines by treating electronic documents and signatures the same as the physical or the wet signatures that we call. Okay, so for the purpose and the significance, first is the E-commerce Act build public trusts, especially in online transactions. Second is to provide the legal framework. The third one is to encourage the adoption of paperless transactions. For the scope of the applications, the law applies to all commercial and non-commercial activities conducted using the electronic means. So the law applies, this includes emails, e-commerce platforms, online banking, electronic payments, and the last one is the digital contracts and e-filing of the government documents. So for the scope of the application naman po is this highlights the applications, specifically yung ginagamit natin through online, yung may mga online transactions tayo, we are able to we are able to purchase, we're able to sell our products without hesitation, basta meron lang po tayong valid transaction through online na ina-apply. So for the legal recognition of the electronic documents, under the law, electronic records, emails, and other forms of digital communications are considered equivalent to written documents as long as they can be reliably restored, retrieved, and authenticated. So under the legal recognitions of the electronic documents naman po, is one key of the provisions of the E-commerce Act is the legal recognition in which the data messages under the law electronic records, emails, and other forms of digital communications are considered equivalent to written documents. Again, as long as they can be reliably stored, retrieved, and authenticated. So this legal recognition supports the stored, retrieved, and authenticated. This legal okay, sorry. In both businesses and personal transactions. So, specifically, like for example, Shopee, Lazada, TikTok, um, we're into ano naman kasi in today's generation, uh most probably it started with during the pandemic era, in which we're not no we're not allowed to go out. So um yung ano natin, yung time natin is more on nasa online tayo, nagba tayo through online, specifically Shopee, Lazada. So as you can see, if ano kayo, if you're into Shopee, Lazada, makikita po ninyo doon na before siniship ni seller or again ni seller yung items na in-order natin, is meron transaction doon na, like for example, merong click button doon in which may authentication, merong 1 year warranty if ever man, kasi hinihingi yon ni Shopee mismo or ni Lazada sa mga seller. So again and again, malayo na po tayo sa scam. Most especially now kasi yung online transactions natin was ano na siya, legally approved under the RA 8792 of the Philippines. So for the electronic signature naman po, an electronic signature is any distinctive electronic mark, sound, or process that signifies approval of consent to the terms of documented transactions. So pag sinabi po nating electronic signatures or e-signatures, magiging valid lang po itong e-signatures once it was given by the person itself or the company itself sa inyo po mismo. Like for example, I have this e-signature of my colleagues. Tapos ginamit ko yung e-signature ng colleagues ko without prior notification sa kanya, or hindi ko siya ni-notify na gagamitin ko yung e-signatures niya with a specific document. So it was ano po, it is not allowed because we are now under in the RA 8792 of the E-commerce Act in the Philippines. So for the electronic contracts, this provision simplifies business transactions, especially in online sales, services agreements, and digital subscriptions, and ensure that contracts made over the internet and recognized by the Philippines court. So again, the RA 8792 has already been approved by the Philippines court, in which it protects the online transactions para malayo po tayo sa mga digital scams in this generations or in this moment of more, because we're more into we're more into social buyings, mga ganito ganyan, yun yung mga importance to know on how to use the electronic contracts, or valid ba ito, because there are electronic contracts that are not valid, most especially yung mga hinihingi na po sa inyo ng yung kakontak ninyo, yung hinihingi sa inyo is yung personal nyo na like for example, hiningan kayo ng name, hiningan kayo ng numbers or email. So wag po kayong magpadala, because those are scams. Because the legal of the Philippines is yung ina-apply po natin itong RA 8792 for it to make valid. Okay, for the admissibility of electronic evidence, the Electronic Commerce Act of 2000 or RA 8792 is the primary law governing electronic transactions in the Philippines. It recognizes the legal validity of electronic documents, contracts, and signatures, such as via emails, via text messages, and online transactions. So again and again, admissibility of electronic evidences are can be used via emails, text messages, or online transactions. And we have these key provisions of the E-commerce Act. The first one is the legal recognition of electronic data messages. It highlights the electronic documents, emails, and online contracts have the same legal effect as paper-based document. The second one is the admissibility in court. So here naman is it is electronic records and communications can be used as evidence in legal proceedings just like physical documents. The third one is the e-government services in which the government's agencies are authorized to accept electronic filings, issues electronic permits, and conduct online transactions. So as you can see, the like for example, the BIR, the yung mga ano natin ngayon, like for example, the PhilHealth, the Pag-ibig, ano pa, kung ano pa yung mga legal documents na kailangan natin ASAP, we can apply or we can apply through online na right now. Like for example, the PhilHealth, kung gusto mo makita yung mga contributions ninyo, you can utilize the tool of the e-government or eGov app na nasa Play Store, makikita nyo po doon lahat yung PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, SSS, GSIS, and other government, yung mga ginagamit po natin. And makikita nyo doon yung contributions niyo, lahat-lahat. If you will just to utilize or appreciate yung tool ng eGov. Yes po. The fourth one is the electronic signatures, in which an electronic signature is legally equivalent to a handwritten signatures, provided it can reliably identify the signer and indicate consent. So again and again, hindi po tayo basta-basta gumagamit ng electronic signatures as long as hindi po ito nanggaling sa mismong tao na paglalagyan or paggagamitan natin ng electronic signatures because we have this RA 8792. And the last one is the prohibited acts, in which hacking, illegal access, and unauthorized interception of computer systems or data are punishable under the law. So ito yung sinabi ko kanina na hindi po tayo basta-basta gumagamit ng e-signatures because meron pong batas ang paggamit ng e-signatures here in the Philippines. So for the next one is the business applications and examples. Actually, we have these 4A. The first one is the online shopping transactions. Yung sinabi ko kanina, it was the e-commerce platforms like Lazada or Shopee are covered by the E-Commerce Act. Orders, payment confirmations, and delivery agreements made through these platforms are legally binding. So the second one is the electronic contracts, in which when two parties agree on the terms and services via email or an online platform, this agreement is enforceable under the law. Pag approved both parties, so automatically we can use these electronic contracts. The third one is the electronic signature. Again, a customer signing a loan agreement via a digital signature on a mobile app is legally bound by the agreement, provided by the electronic signature meets authentication standards. So again and again, we can be able to use the electronic signatures if it is not from the person itself. And the last one under the business application and examples is the government e-services. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina that taxpayers can now file tax return online through the BIR EFPS, or we can call it the electronic filing and payment system, which is fully recognized under the E-Commerce Act. So, 'di ba, mas less hassle yung lahat ng processes dito sa Philippines ngayon. It's because we are ni-utilize na natin yung the usage of these online platforms such as systems provided by the government e-services. So for the key concept or the importance of the e-commerce law for business, we have first to promote efficiency because paperless processes reduces operational cost and improves speed. The second one is to enable global reach in which businesses can safely expand to online markets knowing the legal framework supports electronic transactions. So for the third one is to it encourages innovation in which legal clarity encourages the use of digital platforms, fintech solution, and e-payment system. So please note that to ensure legal protection, businesses are protected when conducting digital transactions as contracts and e-documents are legally binding. So the question is, does online transaction safe? So the answer is yes, if it's done properly and cautiously. So the law RA 8792 supports and protects online transactions, but users' awareness and safe practices are still essential. So that would be all po. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, no? I just want to answer for ay, that's okay. I will provide additional inputs lang muna for the meantime. Okay, so the E-commerce Act no established the legal foundation that allows electronic transaction to have the same legal effect as traditional paper-based transaction. As our presenter mentioned, it recognizes that business activities increasingly occur through digital platforms such as website, mobile application, emails, and electronic payment system. For business professional, this law legitimizes electronic document, no, data messages, and online agreement as enforceable instrument. And this recognition remove uncertainty and encourage efficiency, speed, and innovation in commercial transaction. However, legal recognition also means accountability and remains fully intact despite the absence of physical documents. And digital convenience does not diminish legal responsibility. A core principle of the E-commerce Act is functional equivalence, no, which means that electronic records and signatures are treated the same as written documents and handwritten signatures, provided certain reliability and integrity standards are met. So businesses may now execute contracts, issue invoices, and store records electronically without fear of invalidity, as our presenter mentioned. Now, this is particularly important for organizations operating remotely or across multiple locations. Professionals must ensure that electronic systems are secure, traceable, and capable of preserving data integrity. Because poor digital record keeping can weaken legal positions during disputes, and technology, therefore, becomes both an operational tool and a legal risk factor. The law also affirms the validity of electronic signature, no? Sabi nga na kanina, provide that they identify the signer and demonstrate intent to authenticate the documents. So, this allow executive to approve contracts, employment agreements, and supplier arrangement without physical presence. Well, this improve efficiency. It is also require business to adopt proper authentication and verification measures because weak e-signature controls may lead to fraud or unauthorized commitments. Leaders must treat electronic approvals with the same seriousness as manual signatures. Governance system must adapt to digital execution. Online contracts so formed through clicking acceptance buttons, no email confirmation, or digital consent are considered binding under the E-commerce Act. So businesses must ensure that terms and conditions are clearly presented, accessible, and understandable. Ambiguous or hidden provision may be challenged as unfair or invalid. From a leadership perspective, transparency in digital contracting strengthen trust and reduce disputes. So consumer and business confidence is in e-commerce, no, depends heavily on clarity and fairness. Well-designed digital contract laws are both legal safeguards and reputational assets. So the E-commerce Act also emphasizes the importance of electronic evidence. No, emails, transaction logs, digital receipt, and system records may use in court. No? Subject to authentication and integrity requirements, syempre. And this makes digital record detention a critical legal responsibility. So businesses must establish policies on data storage, access control, and audit trails. Deleting or altering electronic records can seriously compromise legal defenses. Prepare organizations treat electronic evidence as seriously as physical documentation and digital compliance support dispute awareness or dispute readiness actually. Consumer protection principles continue to apply in online transactions. So misrepresentation, deceptive pricing, and unfair practice are equally punishable in electronic commerce. Online platform amplify both business reach and consumer complaints. So professional must recognize that unethical online behavior spreads rapidly and damages credibility. So transparent pricing, honest description, and reliable after sales service are essential in digital markets. Trust remains the foundation of sustainable e-commerce. Ethical conducts align legal compliance with business success. Data security and privacy intersect closely with the e-commerce. So businesses handling personal and transactional data must protect information from unauthorized access and misuse. Cybersecurity failures expose firms to legal liability and reputational harm. Professional must align e-commerce operations with data protection laws and industry standards. Secure system are no longer optional but mandatory na po siya. So digital trust is built through responsible data governance, leadership accountability extend into the digital space. So again, the e-commerce act function as a governance framework for digital business. It enables innovation while imposing clear responsibility on business and leaders. Professional who integrate legal compliance into digital strategy reduce risk and strengthen competitiveness. Online growth without legal safeguards invest disputes and sanctions. Responsible e-commerce balances efficiency with accountability, and the law supports sustainable digital transformation. Compliance become a strategic advantage rather than a limitation. We have a case no about electronic contracts no. The case is MMC Industrial Cells Corp versus Sangayon Corporation. Sangyon Corporation rather. So the issue with their electronic communication can establish a binding contract. The facts that the parties exchange emails in electronic communication regarding the sale of industrial equipments. One party later denied the existence of a binding agreement, arguing that no formal written contracts was signed. Ano naging ruling? The court held that electronic communication, when taken together with the conduct of the parties, may establish contractual intent and agreement. So anong doctrine? Consent to a contract may be proven through electronic correspondence if intent and acceptance are evident. So what will be the legal significance? Electronic negotiation and confirmation can create enforceable obligations. Business application, executive must treat emails and digital approvals as legally binding commitment. So listen, learn. Digital communications require discipline and clarity to avoid unintended contractual liability. Another case actually is electronic evidence. People versus Inohas, no? Issue whether electronic evidence is admissible in court. Ang facts, the prosecution presented electronic data as evidence which the defense challenged on the grounds of authenticity and reliability. A ruling, the court ruled that electronic evidence is admissible provided it complies with authentication and integrity requirements. Doctrine, electronic data messages and records are admissible when reliability and proper handling are established. Legal significance, courts recognize electronic records as valid evidence. Business application, companies must preserve emails, logs, and transaction records properly. Leadership lesson, digital recording, record keeping is a legally responsible, not merely an IT functions. I have one, no? The online transaction in liability. Case National Bureau of Investigation versus Bayot, no? Issue whether electronic transaction and communication can establish liability. Facts, electronic messages in online transaction were used to establish participation in unlawful activities. Ruling, the court recognized electronic communication as valid evidence in determining liability. Doctrine, electronic transaction may be used to prove acts, intent, and participation. Legal, digital footprints carry legal consequences. Business application, online action by employees and executives can bind the organization. Leadership lesson, proper digital policies and monitoring are essential to manage organizational risks. Do we have Okay. A question is, okay, actually, this is a question earlier, but I just want to answer this question. Okay. The question is, from the current events, in your own opinion, is there really possible? Ay, hindi pala to. Ano yung tanong? Is there a ruling? Bato ko. Is there any ruling or law in the Philippines for company mergers that might lead to monopoly of marketing a product to balance competition to other competitors, as this will distort price increases and commodity fluctuation? Yes, no? The Philippines has a clear legal framework and actual rulings that address mergers or acquisitions that may lead to monopoly, market dominance, or distortion of prices and competition. The primary law is the Philippine Competition Act or Republic Act 10667, enacted to prevent anti-competitive agreements, abuse of dominant position, and anti-competitive mergers and acquisition. This law explicitly recognizes that mergers can improve efficiency, but merger can also substantially lessen competition, create monopolies, or distort prices and supply. So to enforce this law, the government created the Philippine Competition Commission. Na? So is monopoly automatically illegal in the Philippines? No. Monopoly by itself is not automatically illegal. What the law prohibits is abuse of dominant position and mergers that substantially prevent, restrict, or lessen competition. A company may become dominant through efficiency, innovation, or skill, but once dominance is used to control price fairly, unfairly, limit supply, exclude competitors, or manipulate markets, then it becomes illegal under competition law. Okay? Merger review, how the law prevents market distortion. Under the Philippine Competition Act, mergers and acquisitions that exceed certain thresholds must be notified to the PPC before they can proceed. No, the PPC evaluates whether the merger will reduce competitive pressure, create or strengthen market dominance, lead to price increases, cost, supply shortage, or commodity fluctuation, exclude smaller competitors from the market. If risks are found, the agency may approve the merger with conditions, require the divestment of asset, impose behavioral limits, or block the merger entirely. This is legal balancing mechanism you are asking about. Ano? So about abuse of dominant position, the key safeguard, no? Even after a merger is approved, the law continues to apply. So the following acts are prohibited once dominate exists, no? Predatory pricing, yung selling below cost to kill competitors, no? Price manipulation, exclusive dealing that blocks competitors, refusal to deal without valid reason, and limiting production to raise prices artificially. This provision exists precisely to prevent price distortion and commodity instability. Okay, so an example, let's say, consider a hypothetical merger, no, where company A control most of the supply of the basic commodity, no, company B controls most of the distribution network. So the merger would give the combined firm control over pricing and availability. Under the law, the PPC would examine market share, barriers to entry, and consumer impact. If the merger risks price hikes or supply control, the PPC may require sealing part of the business, opening access to competitors, and price or supply commitments. This is how competition is balanced in practice, not just in theory. No? So, why this matter for price stability in commodities? Ano? Unchecked monopolies can dictate price kasi, no? Manipulate supply, trigger artificial shortage, and
Yes,
it
Doc.
can cause abnormal price volatility, no? Competition law intervenes before these effects occur through merge review, ongoing monitoring, and enforcement against abusive conduct. And this is directly concerns about price increases and commodity fluctuation. Again, the bottom line, yes, the Philippines has a specific law regulating mergers that may lead to monopoly. So the Philippine Competition Act empowered the government to approve, condition, or black mergers. Monopoly is not illegal per se, but abuse of dominance is illegal. So the Philippine Competition Act or the Philippine Competition Commission or the PCC, I mean, actively enforces these rules. The legal framework exists precisely to balance competition, protect consumers, and prevent price distortion. Again, Philippine law, through the Philippine Competition Act and the Philippine Competition Commission, regulate mergers which that may create monopolies by requiring prior review and allowing intervention when such mergers threaten competition, price stability, or consumer welfare. Ano pa?